Okay. I think we're live. Hello. I'm going to confirm this. Yep. Okay. Looks like we are going live. Hello. This is Tim Serantonio, Neon One. I am. Yeah, we are totally live. Awesome. Very cool. So, this is Tim Serantonio, Neon One. Welcome to the first ever Changemakers live stream show. I'm very excited to start this up. We got two guests today. The original plan was to have both guests on at the same time. I am learning a new platform and we're getting acclimated to it. And so we're going to have one guest on at each time, but we're going to split it. We're going to have both guests, Julia and Lindsay will be joining us. Julia is going to pop in first, and then we're going to text Lindsay to join us, and Julia will go and make sure her children are not screaming outside her door. So I got the fancy Switcher Studios item up. Really excited about that. I think it looks slick. I'm seeing it on YouTube. Hello, you are echoing. Well, fine, Chris. Okay, I'll figure it out.
I don't think you're echoing.
Well, Chris says I'm echoing, and he's the production expert, so probably because I have. Okay. How about now, Chris? Tell me if I'm echoing now. Well, okay. We're gonna figure this out. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of take that off and add Julia in. People should be able to see you now.
Hi.
Hello. I can see you. You could see me. Welcome to the Changemakers live stream.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So we'll do a little bit of table setting as I kind of get acclimated, but this is pretty cool platform. We're sponsored by Switcher Studios. You Are Good, Young Leadership Council New Orleans, who totally we are going to make sure that Lindsay gets on here because that's her nonprofit. So
yes.
So
I'm not young, so we need the youngins.
We need the youngins. We need the youngins. So tonight's live stream and subsequent live streams are sponsored by Switcher Studio, a fantastic platform. I'm actually using it to kind of do all this cool stuff. Like look at this. Hey, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you should.
Wow.
You should like. Yeah, why don't you go to the stream so you can actually?
I'm going to the stream, and I will mute my speaker so that we don't get the.
Okay. And I think it's because I literally bought.
It's just tech.
It's just tech. I literally bought an iPad just for this to test this thing out because I'm an Android guy. Look at that.
Me too. I am the biggest Android person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I have to have an iPad for the school committee. It's a whole boring thing that no one wants to hear about, but I don't even know how to use it, and I'm just like, oh, why do I have to do this? Okay.
So I think what happened is that I had the iPad sound on.
Yeah.
And this sound on. So I got rid of the iPad sound, and now we're good, and people are telling us we're good. So, okay, let's actually start the stream then.
This looks really good.
It does look good. It's really slick. I like this. So Switcher is a partner of Neon One. If you don't know who Neon One is, we're a technology and services company that serves the social good sector. We help organizations raise money and manage their missions and do great things and empower great things. And that's why we're excited to have Neon One's 2020 Partner of the Year, Julia Campbell, here with us to kick things off and to kind of help me stumble through this. And then we'll be joined by Lindsay a little bit later on. Yes, thank you, Chris. Chris Strub is giving us
the best.
Thank you, Chris. You are the best. You are the best. And so
he's the best cheerleader.
So Lindsay will be joining us from the Young Leadership Council in New Orleans, and I actually went to college with Lindsay.
Oh.
And so that's why I was like,
let's go to college.
SUNY Plattsburgh State.
Yay.
So I have my mocktail.
Oh my gosh, you were doing dryuary. I'm
Yeah.
not, but I'm doing dryuary for you. So I'm drinking a seltzer.
Oh, thank
Which
you.
I'm definitely going to drink something else. after
So
we
this
get
is
off
this.
this call.
I did an adapted Moscow Mule because Neon One partner back office thinking got us these really beautiful copper.
Oh, yeah. Those are
Copper mugs.
amazing. Those are awesome.
So my wife and I made one up, and we used that like nice ginger ale.
There's so many ways to make mocktails now. It's an entire industry. It's a whole thing. I think everyone's doing dryuary. I think we all just drank way too much in the first
Sure
first
did.
few months of coronavirus, and now we're like, nope.
It and yeah, I kind of needed to draw a line, and we were going through a big launch campaign, and my boss is actually out on maternity leave now.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah. She and so our team stepped up, and she doesn't feel like she has to like work. She keeps checking in. It's like, Erin, can you give it a break
I
for
feel
a
that. I
moment?
feel
But
her pain. I feel her pain.
yeah, no, and I can't say that I understand. I mean, I empathize, but in terms of like, I didn't birth a child, right? Like I was there on
Yeah,
the
but you
sideline.
probably took paternity leave, or you took probably some kind of leave, Tim. You're like a Renaissance man.
I did. Well, and we give paternity leave at Neon
Right,
One,
as you
so
should. I
as
mean,
you should. And so I think this is kind of getting into the point of the stream in general, which is it's called the Changemakers, and what does it mean to make actual change in our world? And I think that we're on the cusp of a big change in our country. There's been a lot of
literally,
changes,
like the eve,
literally,
the
literally.
actual eve of a big change.
hmm It's the last time that we can say we've never had a woman vice president.
Yes.
So that's a big deal. And then obviously the nonprofit sector is going through changes and things like that. And so I'd love to kind of unpack that with you in terms of what you saw during the pandemic. This is a little bit more relaxed, folks. This is not like a Tim Antonio webinar, and which is kind of
We're
relaxed.
doing one. We're
We
doing
are
one in
doing
March.
We're doing it. Facebook fundraisers. We're coming
St.
out.
Patrick's Day, which
We
we
oh
may or may not be drinking green beer. I don't know.
we well we had to like
I
check
think
the
it's at
time of
noon
the
or
day. I think
something. I don't
it's an
really know what
early one.
time it's at.
I think we'll do is I'll figure out how to have more than one person on the pod or the live stream at one time, and we'll do like a toast type thing.
A toast.
No, you and I will toast. Yeah, so we will be doing a webinar together, which I'm jazzed
Oh, and you're
about.
going to come on my Facebook Live, but that might not be for public knowledge yet.
Oh,
The
no,
29th,
it's
January 29th.
January 29th. I'm going to do. Do I need Facebook to do that?
No, Zoom. I do it on Zoom, and then I
You do it on
broadcast on
Zoom and you
Facebook Live.
broadcast it. Okay.
Mhm.
Actually,
Oh no, you don't need Facebook at all.
so I want to talk. Actually, I want to shift into something that is kind of like helping set the tone for 2021, because one of the things that I hope changes in the coming year in terms of how we all interact is our collective relationship with social media.
Mm.
And I think that we had a situation earlier today, and look, this is the Relax Pod, lives. I keep calling it a podcast. It's not a podcast, live stream.
Mhm.
So I could talk about this type of stuff, but we had a gentleman who was not happy with our service,
Mhm.
and he was very rude in direct messages, called our staff losers. And stuff like that, and I think there's a big difference between, like, I think it's important to understand that, like, when you're typing out to an organization, let's say you make a donation and you like donated too much, or you were frustrated with the experience or something like that. As a social media subject matter expert, how do you think people should engage like negative comments and things like that when they're getting it for their organization. We have situations with nonprofits where they might fall on a side of a political thing that people don't like.
Oh, everything's political. It doesn't matter what it is.
And everything is political.
Everything is, you're going to offend somebody with something.
So how do people navigate that in a world where we're all especially more on edge?
A polarized world gone completely mad.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not joking or trying to be facetious, but this is the topic of my next webinar that I'm going to do: how to adapt your social media policy. I don't want to call it in a world gone mad, because I think that's being insensitive to people with mental health problems. I don't want to say that, but in a polarized world and what is it? Unprecedented world. I hate that word, but
pivot.
The first thing I would say is, please take some time for your own mental health and let your supervisor know if it's becoming too much, because some of my clients who work in the most innocuous, non-polarized, it's not like abortion or LGBTQ, which none of this should be controversial, but obviously it is.
Yep.
Non-political, anything like a local museum or a library are getting completely hammered. And I think that the tone, and I don't want to get political, but I do think that the tone that has been set by the current administration, that's just current for one more day.
Yep.
But I also think the tone that has been set by the adults that have been running things for a long time is bullying is okay and saying whatever you want is okay.
Yeah.
And I do know that nonprofit social media managers are suffering because they take it, of course, personally. So you could get 25 emails today saying you're amazing, one email that says you're completely horrible, and you're going to take it personally. So don't take it personally. Take some time for self-care. The second piece of it that goes into more of a tactical nature is you have to have set policies. You have to have a policy for what happens if someone does this kind of DMing. You have to, that protects you, and that also shields you from this a little bit, but also someone that's going to have your back in the organization. There's going to be something done. But if it's public, you have to have a policy that's external facing that says, we will not tolerate harassment, obscenities, hate speech, XYZ. And I have 1,000 examples. I'm happy to email anybody. But what will you tolerate and what will you not tolerate? And then you have to draw a line in the sand.
Yep.
You have to. So then the third piece is you also need to take these conversations offline. So what I found is most helpful, and honestly, and I'm on the school committee now, so I'm getting a lot of verbal abuse online, which I can take, and I'm a parent, and I used to do this to the superintendent and a lot of the school committee members. So now I kind of am on the other end of it, but I just take it offline. I say, look, I hear your concerns, like you want to be seen and heard, and you're really frustrated, and this is an emotional issue for you right now. Can I please email with you or talk to you on the phone?
Yep.
So I know for social media managers, that is a difficult thing to do because you probably don't want to talk to half of these people. But I will tell you, 99% of people, they just want to be seen. They're so frustrated. They feel like their concerns and their values, their ethics are just not being heard or seen by people. So if you can say on the Facebook page, if someone writes a negative comment, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, if you can just say, I am really sorry, Tim, that you're feeling this way. I would love to talk to you offline about this, and just take it offline. And then 99.9% of the time they will, or they'll say, thank you so much. I was having a bad day. I just wanted to be heard. So as long as you take some time to digitally detox and you have firm policies in place that are kind of non-negotiable policies that if someone violates, sorry, blocked, deleted, and then you also have a way to take it offline and make it a little bit more of a productive conversation.
Yep.
But it's it's really tough right now. It's really, really tough right now. And it's not going to get any easier this week. That's for sure.
One of the things that and yeah, exactly. But even our buddy Chris in the comments, just because I'm not writing back, folks, I am reading the comments in the YouTube chat. Um, one of the things that I found useful in my work, and I think I might have done with this with you. Sometimes it's not even in a bad situation. It's that video can be so powerful in terms of like getting a point.
Empathy.
Yeah, not only having
It's like,
that
oh, there's a human. There's an actual human on the other end
yep.
of this.
And so, for instance, we had a partner, and we have kind of 4 levels of partner, because we have over 150 partners when you get down to it, and I'm one man, and I'm the one who has to manage all of them, and some of them are very, like, I need this thing for this client, and I always want to make sure that we're helping people, and so somebody who I very rarely hear from emailed and was frustrated. I'm trying to get this. I don't know how to do this in the system, and I said, okay, let me make sure that our team knows the situation because they're the experts when it comes to this type of thing. But this is how I would do it, and I did a little video. I use Soapbox.
Oh yeah,
and
did
so
you feel like yeah, Soapbox is great.
because we have a Wistia account for hosting videos, but then they created this tool called Soapbox.
Loomly is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and Loomly's another good one where there's these little tools that you can make a screen capture. But I like Soapbox because it also allows you to do a split screen. You see this every single month. I do a partner update. I'm doing this.
Yep.
But and Chris always makes fun of me every month about it. But but basically,
and I'll be the master videographers.
Yeah,
we all have our talents.
Excuse me. Here, I can do this. If you want to follow us on Twitter, this is the extent of my ability to do
it's
things.
Very
tonight.
Fancy. It's super fancy.
Well, and thank you again to Switcher Studio for sponsoring just a quick side note. I love our new brand. I think our new brand is so great.
Very cool. It's very, very cool.
We can get into that, but
well, I don't know if I'm the best judge of what's cool, but I do like it. So
I quickly fired off a thing where it was like, here's the answer, and hopefully this helps. And I think that just taking a few, like, it's a lot. When I've done this before, where I know that if I'm starting to write an email, and I write very long emails, you know that, but if I'm like writing a passionate email, I go, wait a second,
write it and then just draft it. Maybe that's kind of what I do sometimes.
I put it in draft. I learned this a few years ago because I would get very fired up in sales because it's like how do you not understand, like, why do you think this, or you're misunderstanding something, and for a while I would get very worked up. I've been with the company for 9 years, coming on 10 years.
And curse of knowledge a little bit.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to also remind yourself that it's not personal, and you're the expert when you're coming in about something and they're not, and you're supposed to educate them and elevate them and support them. And so taking that deep breath, it's kind of like I always cite the Abraham Lincoln item. You know what he would do?
No.
He fired generals all the time during the Civil War. All the time. Very, very tumultuous. It was just, like, this, you're not doing the job, you're out of here. And he would get very, very angry. But what he would do is that old school version of putting it in draft. He would write out the angry letter, the one that's like, I am just going to burn this place down. Yep. He would stuff it in the envelope, seal the envelope, put the stamp on it, throw it in his desk, and not do anything.
Wait, do we have these letters? There's a historical record.
I'm pretty certain we have some historical. Yeah, I'd have to check Doris Kearns Goodwin or something like that.
On another side note, not to totally derail you though, that was a Netflix movie where there was a girl in high school. It's one of the most popular Netflix movies. It's called like My Boyfriend with Love, where she wrote a bunch of letters like that to boyfriends, and then they got mailed
to all the
to all the
boyfriends
boys
I
I've
love.
loved before. Did you watch that?
I did.
I really liked it.
There's a sequel, actually.
There's like 3.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Ugh. So yeah, very, very exciting.
Be careful with your stamped letters.
Yes,
But
because you never know when they're going to get sent out. But I think
I do that too.
Well, and I think that's kind of important in terms of like this is the type of conversation, folks, that I want to have, and hopefully you're getting something out of it. But the idea of, change happens in a lot of different ways. But I think that what we need now is I wouldn't even say like we need more understanding, right? Like
No.
that's we have enough awareness, we have enough understanding. What we
There's
need
not good people on both sides. We don't need
there are.
We need more empathy.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the difference. There's a difference between understanding, like, oh, I understand what you're trying to say, before, and then there's a big difference between that and like, I feel the pain that you have right now. There's a huge difference between the two. Massive difference.
It was like how the hillbilly elegy somehow shook up America. And I read the hillbilly elegy and I thought, did people not know that there are poor people that live like this? Like I was more confused that people didn't know that white people lived like this.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think that we do need more literature. We need more, I wouldn't say more, I don't know, awareness. I hate the word awareness, but I do think the constant drumbeat of people that have platforms elevating other voices and amplifying other voices and just constantly like sharing, not even editorializing. 90% of the time just share things. I might say, I liked this, I found this informative, but I don't necessarily offer my own perspective if it's not needed. I just amplify and elevate. And I think that doing that is actually really helpful. And I wish that, I have to be honest, I was really horrified that I only got 2 emails on Martin Luther King Day. 2 from nonprofits.
In terms of
making a statement, or I don't know. You don't want to make an empty blank statement, right? You don't want to just say something to say something.
I'm going to be honest.
But I don't know. I mean, the nonprofits that I work with, this is their mission, is very close to their mission. And a lot of the organizations did make outward statements on the violent coup attempt, or, maybe not, or maybe they did. But I think that, I don't know, I'm just dismayed by how many organizations, and I understand why they're afraid to speak up. I get it. I used to work as a development director.
Yeah.
So I understand it, but this is the one thing with my clients. I'm just like, you got to stand up for what you believe in.
I think
you don't have to polarize people, but you have to stand up for what you believe in at the end of the day.
I would much rather ensure that there's an element of authenticity when standing up, as opposed to, hey, remember that one speech that guy did? I'm going to quote from that. Like,
I agree with that.
Like the Disneyfication that I talked to one of our consultants earlier, another Neon One consultant who were working. Actually, this is relating to the initiative that you helped inspire.
Oh.
Did I not tell you about this? That we're trying to come up with a better name, but it's basically the conference like equity scorecard.
Ooh. Oh, we need it.
So
I don't know how that would work though, but I definitely think we need it.
We are working on it, but it's basically a series of guidelines in terms of when you're working with consultants, putting together a conference. What are the top 10 items that you need to take into account, from pay to accessibility to gender and race and other types of diversification, balance, things of that nature. Now, you and I have talked about this, and even the consultant, Nikki McCord, we've identified that you can't do like one. It's not a quota thing. It's not a quota thing. So few things actually have happened here. One, I've started running it up the poll, so to speak, at the Giving Institute.
Ooh, okay.
So they are interested in discussing it, and several of the members, who are other tech firms and things of that nature, have said, you know what, we think this is a good idea. We want this as part of the industry, kind of some pledge and series of guidelines that you can take.
I think so.
Two, and this literally just happened earlier today in terms of us
Yay.
talking about it.
It's progressing imperfectly.
Oh, absolutely, and her and I know that. But two, we are going to live it. I'm going to basically bring her as part of Generosity Exchange in terms of the planning item, and we're going to use our conference as, like, if nothing else happens in 2021, when it comes to this, we are going to live it, and we're going to show like how this is done.
I think that's all you can do. I mean, all you can do, first of all, when I made that proclamation at the Classy Collaborative, I was speaking at the Classy Collaborative, and I'm really not trying to call them out because I think they're incredible people. I love their event planners. I just think the forethought was not there. And the level of, it's just the level of privilege. You look at a conference agenda and you don't see it. So
you get the race blinders.
That was a challenging moment for me because I did have people that were calling on me saying, first of all, it was like 3 days before the conference, you shouldn't do the keynote.
Yep.
You should step down. And I said, first of all, I really don't think it's fair to just ask a Black woman to do the keynote in 3 days. Like, I don't think that that's fair. And secondly, I don't know. I felt for the conference organizers, and I did feel, and I clearly expressed how I felt, and I think it was great, and I think it went, well. But the whole point is, my whole point was progressing, like progress, not perfection. And I know that's the lamest thing you could probably ever say, but it's so true. It's just like falling somehow, sometimes on your face, but being called out and then not getting defensive about it and just really willing to see what could be made better. And I've been called out a ton of times. Oh my God, my blog. Do you know that Vu Lei, and actually I kind of fangirled for a moment, called me out, as he should have, on a post I wrote a few years ago where I used the word like spirit animal.
Yep.
And tribes. And it wasn't even something that ever occurred to me. And that's what needs to happen, is it's sort of like, oh, when it does occur to you, maybe take a step back and say, is this a learning moment? Can I get defensive and just say, F everyone, and I'm going to, do what I'm doing? Or can I take it as kind of a learning moment? And I called him and talked to him about it. I mean, it was really, really helpful for me, I thought. So I just think that, the conferences, I don't know what to do. And then it's really hard because a lot of us, I make a third of my income from speaking, right?
Yep.
Or I used to, at least, but
yeah.
a third. But that, you have to really, I think that now maybe I'm at a place where I can use my platform for good. I know a lot of people are not there. So what I try to do is say, if I have this platform, if a single person is listening to what I have to say, I'm going to say it, and say it imperfectly and fall on my face and be criticized for it. And that's fine. And just do what I can do the best that I can do it.
Well, and right? we have more than one person watching tonight, so I think we have a little bit of more of a platform.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so hard because I do think, especially, I can't speak for all white people, especially for white women. I mean, I was a women's studies minor. I feel like I have the receipts. I was like, oh, the marches. You got to get all of that out of your head, and you got to get it away from you. And you have to stop thinking that, you just have to move forward. You just have to stop thinking that the way things were done is okay. And you can't take criticism like that personally. You really have to look at it as, is this improving the sector, which is at the end of the day what we're all hopefully trying to do.
I had and let's see, MS Reentry says hi, Julia,
Oh, hi.
on the good old
I don't know who that is without a name. Voulet is the man. Yes, he is really the man.
Oh, Mississippi. Oh, it's I think it's Sinatra from Generosity Exchange, Mississippi Reentry. Neon client. Yes. Hello. She's actually gonna join us in April for this, and I'm gonna figure out how to have more than one person on the stream at one time.
I don't want to take time away from Lindsay either. I want to hear from Lindsay.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to, do you want to kind of like switch off and then enjoy the stream? And then Lindsay, are you still there? Can you hear me? Or
Lindsay, I love that you already have the new hats with the brand.
So it's funny. I got this, and let me text her. Yes. Hello.
But I do love that initiative, and I'm fully on board. And let me know. And I know that it's awkward if I'm speaking to any other white speakers out there. Let's be real.
Yep.
It's awkward to look at an agenda, and I've done it now several times, and say, I just have some questions. Is like having a diversity of voices a priority for you? Because it's a priority for me as a speaker. And just, having your little thing that you send to event organizers. If you look at the agenda or they, asking who's speaking, that's completely fine. Because you have to think about it, I don't know, not even just from a perspective of what's right in the world, but what do you want your legacy to be? Like, how do you want to be perceived, and what kind of story do you want to tell? So
I think it's a heck of a lot more interesting to hear from people who are not thinking the same.
I'm tired from hearing all the same old people. Not that I don't love them, and I adore a lot of them, and I'm probably in that group now, but I just, no, we got to hear some different perspectives. And
well, how about we
yeah,
I wish we can have a full I wish we had a full thing. We'll figure it out. We'll do this again. But yeah, well, let's hear from a different perspective. Julia, thank you so much. And I'll be seeing you on the 29th. We're going to do an amazing live stream on ambassadorship and leveraging your database and CRM. And
it's not a webinar I've ever done before, and I'm so excited about it. So I
have some fire content this year.
Good.
I think
take it on the road.
Well, so okay, just before, and Lindsay, I know we're going to get you in just a moment, but I got to tell you, the one that I want to do with Crystal Cherry that I've proposed to her.
I'm doing that one with her on Friday.
Donor database segmentation from a demographic standpoint, not a transaction standpoint. Leveraging your database to make appeals to geographic areas that need different messaging, to different groups that you're working with. I'm very, very excited about this approach.
Can I just talk about Crystal Cherry for a second?
Absolutely.
We had a phone call, and she was on her phone, and she was walking around her house, and it was the most beautiful house I've ever seen. And I was like, I was like, where are you? It was the most beautiful house I've ever seen in my whole life.
I've seen her office.
She was just walking around. She's like, no, this is how I do my Zooms. I just walk around my house. And I was like, I don't, it's like, there's artwork, there's architecture. It was amazing. But I'm doing a Facebook Live with her on Friday. Quick plug.
Well, tell her I said hello, and I pitched her what I want to do with her in May. And I think it's going to happen. So Lindsay's got she's ready to hit the button. So.
I'm so excited to hear from you. I'm going to get off.
All right.
Cool. Bye, Tim. Thank you.
All right. See ya. Talk to you soon. Okay, folks. So we're going to have Lindsay also join us. Oh my gosh. I butchered her name on here. Boy, Lindsay, I am not doing you any favors tonight. that. Okay. Okay, so Lindsay should be joining us shortly as we wait for her. We are enjoying our first pilot episode, as with most television and other types of things. A pilot always needs a little bit of honing. So, hey, I like screwed up your last name too on my little overlay thing too.
Both of my names.
Yeah. Ugh. Okay. That's my fat fingers in
Don't worry about it.
the thing. All right, let me get rid of this. Okay, I know what's going on here. There we go. Okay. That should be better in terms of the audio.
Can you hear me okay? I have headphones, but I don't have them on.
Okay. All right. Mocktails. There we go. Okay, how you doing tonight?
We're good. I got elderflower cordial and tonic water and some lemon, and that's what's in my mocktail.
Awesome. Yeah, I did a little bit of limeade, that kind of fancy ginger beer, and then a dash of seltzer on the top. So
Nice. Yeah. I had
So-
an idea of doing a French 75. I had a friend give me some demo suggestions on non-alcoholic, like New Orleans drinks, and I failed because I did not procure the non-alcoholic gin adjacent flavor spirit, so I figured the elderflower cordial would be a good.
and your audio is a little choppy, Lindsay, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Let me try the headphone.
I know it doesn't look as good.
Let me try it. Are you ready? Are you got headphones?
Oh, now I can't hear you. Try now.
Hear me now.
See now? Now I can't. Yeah, I can't. Oh, now I can't even hear you. It's live. It's live. We'll do it live. All right. Try taking the headphones off. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. Let me try this and then that. Okay. Talk now. She's probably got to refresh the room if you're changing audio input. So try logging back in. If you can hear me. Okay. Technical difficulties that we're figuring out. Hey, folks, if you're interested in following Neon One, we got a Twitter. We got a Facebook. I just love the overlays. We got good old that. There we go. Lindsay.
We'll try this again.
Yeah, I think this is going to work. We sound better.
Okay. Well, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, you're not like choppy anymore. I am not hearing much of an echo. So there you go.
All right.
Cool. Okay. So why don't you tell people who you are and what your organization is all about? Do a little pitch.
I will. Thanks. I'm Lindsay J. Gilda-Eulis. I am technically 18 days into being the executive director of Young Leadership Council, YLC, in New Orleans, Louisiana. And YLC is an independent, nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that develops leadership through community projects. So really focused on ways that young professionals can be civically engaged, community engaged, youth professional development. Historically has had a good amount of social engagement, but of course the pandemic has changed all of those things. I've been around since 1986, and I'm a former member of the board of directors of the organization. So this was actually a really exciting opportunity for me to come back to the organization in a different role. And we have done, I mean, you name a way to do a community project, and we've done it: youth mentoring, sport for good, civic pride campaigns, public art, beautification, greening, all of our wonderful festivals. We have a recycling initiative that usually kicks into high gear for Mardi Gras, as you can imagine. A city that historically has measured the success of its events based on the tonnage of trash. We've been able to start to say, well, what does it look like to measure what we keep out of landfills, and try to bring some of our festivals and initiatives and things that we really hold dear culturally in New Orleans. And so we do all of those good works in the community, but that's the how. The what is the young professionals that get the chance to practice leadership skills, running meetings, managing people, managing budgets, things that as an earlier mid-career professional you might not get the chance to do. So we say, like, practice those skills, be successful, make mistakes, and do them, in the container of an organization where ultimately at the end of the day, then we are using all of that energy and effort that young professionals have to do some good things, do some things that make New Orleans a more livable, sustainable place to live, and encourage people to stick around, right? Retention of young professionals, retention of talent, is an economic and social and cultural issue for us. So we help to address that by just keeping our folks engaged and saying, here's a lane, here's a tool, here's a place to come develop your ideas.
It's pretty good elevator pitch in terms of the high level. And so before that, you were working with a few different organizations in New Orleans, but you're originally from the New York area.
I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. I did make 10 years in New Orleans, which I believe people will say that now makes me a local, but you're not, you can never claim to be a native New Orleanian if you're not really from here. You have to be able to answer the question, where'd you go to school? Which doesn't mean college, means high school. I'm a New Orleanian, so I've been here long enough now that New Orleans is home. And actually, one of the big civic pride campaigns that YLC is known for is New Orleans Proud to Call It Home, which was a huge civic pride campaign taken on in the 80s to encourage people to move back into the urban core after there had been a lot of disinvestment in the city proper. And so that's one of the things that I am proud to call it home. That's our brand at YLC, but it's something that I get to say now, but I'm never going to officially be a New Orleanian, but at this point, it's home as much as any place. But originally from Buffalo, went to undergraduate at a small state school, SUNY Plattsburgh. So many of my YLC friends from my time on board will tell you they never even knew there was a place called Plattsburgh, New York, and they now know more about it than the typical Louisiana just from hanging out with me.
Still trying to figure out my audio. I mean, it's been it was really funny how even we reconnected, like just a few years ago, where I was doing a product demo for the CRM, and you're like, hey, Tim, like right in the chat.
I was like, hey. At that time, I wasn't even, I was working for one of the community colleges in the area, which actually did end up getting me on to do some alumni management. But really small community college. I was working in the advancement office there. But I was actually a board member of the Mid-South Education Research Association, which is a membership nonprofit for folks in K-12 and higher ed research. And we were looking for membership management. So that's why I was demoing Neon in my role for that membership volunteer gig, but then decided it was a good solution for the community college. And that was, because I was on that demo that was how it was like, oh, hey, you're in the nonprofit space. And then I went from higher ed into a couple of different health and human services nonprofits. Most recently, really large one, part of those big federated agencies. So I got to learn a lot being a part of that network. But now I'm back, back in a small shop that most YLC has ever had 4 paid staff. Right now there's 2. I'm so grateful that our communications and engagement person stayed on through this executive director's transition. Right now it's me and her figuring it out as we do the continuation of the pandemic.
Yeah. And well, how has that affected the organization's work? I know you're relatively new, but you still have to approach that for what's going to happen in the next few months. So what are you folks doing to adjust there?
Yeah, so like a lot of nonprofits in New Orleans, so much was event driven. And I mean, I know that that's a challenge that nonprofits have, being too much in the events bucket, not just in New Orleans, but I think in our market in particular, you see it because there is such a culture around gathering and music and festivals. And it's what we do, and we love doing it and we do it well. So YLC ran historically a 12-week concert series, a Wednesday concert series, Wednesday at the Square, and has run it for, since like post Katrina. So I think since like 2008, 2009. It's a long-standing event series to have, and so it was literally the day before it was supposed to be the first Wednesday at the Square in March that the mayor of New Orleans said, shut it down. No events, kids are going home from school, shut it down. So in 2020, the organization had planned for that concert series for an in-person gala. The other thing YLC is pretty well known for is honoring New Orleans every year with what's called the Role Model Gala. So looking at people that, hey, this person demonstrates leadership in their industry, this person demonstrates leadership through their philanthropy, listing all different examples of leadership in different industries and upholding those people, and something really to amplify people that are leading in interesting ways. And so you had no concert series, you had no in-person gala, and so that changed everything. That meant YLC had to hit pause and had to say, what are we going to do differently? How are we going to think about this differently? And I think that's not just one organization's story. It's a story for a lot of organizations in New Orleans, and it's forcing us to get creative. To speak to YLC specifically, it allowed some space to do some internal work, to do an alignment project, and to get really clear that the community projects are great, and we want to be excited about the recycling initiatives. And the 8th graders who learn about careers that they didn't even know existed because our people are in the schools mentoring them, we still want to get excited about that work. But I keep coming back to this, and the alignment project, I think, helped us to see this. We are the work. It is the people who are 21 to 42 who are the next generation of thought leaders in the city, who are the people that are going to move into local level elected positions, local positions of influence. That's the work. That's the work. And there's lots of vehicles for doing that, but to get really clear about what is the mission. I don't know that YLC would have done that, right? It's really hard to stop running your 10 or 12-week concert series that people look forward to, that sponsors are excited about, that is part of the spring festival ritual that we have in New Orleans. It's Watts, Monday at Square, it comes right after Mardi Gras. You know that. It's what gets you geared up and excited for Jazz Fest. And so, without being forced to pause, I don't know that the organization would have taken it. How would you ever have the bandwidth? How would you ever have the bandwidth to turn back on yourself? Because that inertia is so powerful, and it's one of the things, again, right? There's people joy and together, and to see sort of the best in corporate philanthropy. There's so many good things, but hitting pause is really helping YLC to take a look at the organization differently. And approaching year 35, the pandemic has been a struggle for everybody, but I think if we can be thoughtful in what we do over the next year, we're going to be in a much stronger position, just as an organization and in the ways that we engage people.
Well, speaking of engagement, who's on the Twitter or the YouTube chat tonight for your team?
That's Ashley. That's our communications and engagement manager who runs all of YLC social media, who does our email communication. Actually, I wrote it down when Julie was talking about how she didn't get Martin Luther King Day messages. It was something Ashley and I talked about. What, do we send something? What do we send? Our physical building is in Central City in New Orleans, and we are at the corner of Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard. And Aretha Castle Haley is a legend. She was a civil rights pioneer in New Orleans. And so when Ashley and I were talking about, well, what do we want to send? What do we want to say this week? We decided we would say, in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day and him as a civil rights activist, let's talk about Aretha Castle Haley Boulevard. Who was she? Why was the street named for her? I knew a little bit about her. I knew she was part of CORE and some of the formal organizing that started to happen in New Orleans in the 60s. But I didn't know, that her leadership and service, in the 80s, she was one of the chief administrators of Charity Hospital. She helped to start the Sickle Cell Anemia Foundation and to raise that issue, which now we have a language to call that health equity. I don't know that we had the language for that in the 80s, but that's what she was doing. And so for us to say, again, YLC is kind of hyper local to New Orleans. So how do we draw that through line? How do we make sense of that? How do we acknowledge this day in a way that is authentic to our organization and who we want to communicate with? And so, Ashley and I talked about it, and we just said, let's tell people about Aretha Castle Haley. Let's get our members curious about her if they don't already know, to learn more. And then we posed a couple of questions. We invite you to research and reflect. Who are other civil rights leaders from New Orleans? What could you learn about leadership from digging into their history and their stories? And so we made a really intentional choice with our communications and what we said and how we want to say it.
And by the way, your lovely team member wrote, "Happy for Lindsay, is an incredible asset to have in our team for all of 19 days and her years of historical knowledge." All right. And what I'm also doing is I'm going to do you right.
Yeah.
I fixed your name properly.
Okay.
In the darn stream.
When I'm distracted, okay, I should just stay focused on talking to you.
No, I'm able to do it on the fly. That is kind of cool about the platform. So I'm doing you right there. Just wanted to put that up there. That fat fingers, Lindsay. Fat fingers.
What it is, it's that I have two hard to spell, hard to say last names. It was bad enough when I was Lindsay Jekyll. I had one, but then I got married, and I decided rather than changing my name to a different short, hard to say, hard to spell last name, is that I would use them both with a space, no hyphen, just to be difficult. You want to talk about a database nightmare? You are an organization that has me in your donor database. I don't know how many times you have to collect the citation, because mine is just off the wall. It's Dr. Lindsay Jekyll Diulis, space, no hyphen. I am married to a man whose name is only Diulis. So I have people sometimes that think, oh, did you both change your name? So whatever standard naming convention your database administrator has, I am that person that causes them a headache and extra effort to have to go in and hand change that mailing to me. So, maybe if I was deeper into the fundraising world at the time that I got married, maybe I would have done that.
But proper stewardship and proper gratitude is spelling the damn name right in the first place. So I apologize about that. That's why I want to show that I fixed it on the fly here.
My prior organization, we definitely sent you an email that said Tom, like the day after Give Nola Day, the community giving day. So like whatever, we're even now.
Well, there you go. That is true. Hey, and Give Nola Day, also part of the Neon One ecosystem. So
working with our community foundation here, Greater New Orleans Foundation, which I feel like, I'm not like, I don't represent them, but I feel like I want to give them a shout out because they've had an LGBT fund for quite a while now, and they have a Forward Together fund for racial equity, specifically creating opportunities to apply for funds for Black-led nonprofits. So, Black executive directors, Black board chairs, like really looking to say, like, we know that the foundation investments have not been proportionate. We know they've been inequitable. We know they've been unfair, and we're going to really take some bold steps to correct that. So I'm always so proud of the way that our community foundation really understands this community and acts not only as a place where nonprofits can go for education and training and financial resources, but really is willing to take a stand on things that matter and is really willing to be a thought leader. Because I know not every nonprofit sector has that relationship with their community foundation. So I know how fortunate we are to have that. I know you've gotten to know some of the folks there too, and working with our community giving day, which I mean, for the size of New Orleans, I mean, our community giving day just is astronomical. I'm always, every year to see how much is raised, and in New Orleans, like it takes up a lot of space in people's collective imaginations, but both geographically and in terms of population, it's smaller than a lot of people realize. So for us to be able to put up those type of community giving day numbers, I think it really speaks to how we live that culture of philanthropy in New Orleans, right? Zulu, one of our most famous Mardi Gras crews, right? A social aid and pleasure club, like old school, like mutual aid societies. That's in our DNA in New Orleans.
Yeah. This is the saddest part of all of this, because I just miss New Orleans so much. It's my favorite city in the world. And, to be able to come down and see you and just experience all that, like, I'd love to be doing it in person. We're going to get back to that at some point, but it's just because you can feel that generosity in the city just pouring out everywhere. Everyone's just so like, I wouldn't say nice, because there's like a grit there too,
I'm a blue collar kid, welder's daughter from Buffalo. I fit right in here in these.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know that. There is this. I mean, there is a greenness. There is a. I think it's the resilience. It's the understanding that like we have us. Like if you are like it's us guys. Like we have us. And I think that there's this collectivist idea that is hard to experience in other places. And I don't know if you've seen it all, the crew of house floats. So with no Mardi Gras parades this year, some people are having their houses transformed into Mardi Gras.
I saw you post about this.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of artists and artisans that are out of work because normally they would be building Mardi Gras floats, and so it's an opportunity to engage people from the cultural economy, to give them opportunities to work and use their skills. And they partnered with some nonprofits, with some folks that are addressing hunger and food insecurity, particularly for folks that are gig economy workers, that are cultural economy workers, and so they've really wrapped that into it. So there will still be some good very broad imagery, but it won't be the same. But you leave it to New Orleanians to say, we'll still figure out a way to have floats if they have to be stationary. Watch me make my whole house into a float, and there are literally dozens of people who've elected to do that.
It's just such a creative time that people are also kind of being forced into, and I think that's the one thing that I hope stays, is that kind of we can't do things the way that we did before. We have to shake it up, because otherwise we're not going to be able to build authentic relationships. Because if you can build a relationship in this situation, you can definitely do it when things come back.
Yeah.
So, well, we're hitting the kind of the full hour mark. That was kind of my plan for today, to test things out, was to do an hour. So, any final words to kind of help sign off and kick off, 2021 for us nonprofit professional leaders here?
Man, I'm a huge student of Octavia Butler, and not only her fiction, but the way she would write her affirmations to herself in her journals. She would say, I will win this award. I will be a best-selling author. My next book will be on the New York Times bestseller list. Like, she just did these affirmations, but she ended on always with these two little phrases, which were, "So be it, see to it." So if we're going to talk about shaping change, which is also a very Octavia Butler kind of phrase in my mind. I think that's right. That's the mantra. That's the charge for all of us, especially in the social good sector. I think we know what our work is, and so the marching orders, the directive, the direct action, the way you're going to project manage it. I would say, so be it, see to it. In the words of Octavia E. Butler.
I love that. That's a good one. Hold it, and before you go, I'm going to try to do something on the fly here. Just indulge me a little bit. Let's see. All right, I'm going to the donate page.
Ooh.
And I'm going to make a donation. It's going to go right into your database. I know how easy this form is to fill out.
I haven't even gotten to.
But I wanted to thank.
With all my big ideas yet for all the monthly giving stuff, which I know you've started to dig into, but we will.
We need to follow up on that, folks. If you are watching this, invest in a monthly giving program, please. That's the big thing that you can be doing. I'm going to kick things off with the $50 donation to you.
Erica Lasdorf and all of her awesome free content. I mean, that's who we're going to certainly model some things on.
Thank you for your donation. Let's edit this exit page. That's another thing that we can work on. Get a nice video from you saying thank you so much.
Yeah, we have communications committee of really amazing, talented, professionals here who, Tim, I mean, you give them one creative idea and they'll run with it. There's already so much great ideation around what we're gonna do with Proud to Call It Home, especially at a time where we feel like people are gonna be really hungry for that civic pride. And so, what an amazing, historical civic pride campaign for the organization YLC to inherit. We're gonna have to think and talk a lot with each other about why we're proud to call New Orleans home, because we're gonna need each other. So trust me, all I gotta do is be like, how do we make this align with Proud? And I got really, really talented, eager volunteers that'll, I'm sure, come up with something that are far better than anything I can come up with.
I just got the email. Fangirling. I know that we're going to be talking. Count me in terms of being able to help with what you want, and to be able to scale that up for your organization. And I really, really appreciate that you gave me a little bit of your time tonight as well.
Always happy to chat. Plus, I'm on Central Time, so it's not your last week.
It's true. Well,
How many years is it?
I'm not, and I'm old, and so even though we're basically the same age, I am old. So, but yeah, I think this is great. This is a really great kickoff that you helped me do here, and you know, folks, have a great night. We're gonna be. I'm gonna try to do this one. The thank you for watching overlay. I just popped that up on there, and yeah, if you want to follow us, check us out at Twitter, LinkedIn,
Love it.
Facebook, and if you want to follow up on Lindsay, if they want to go to your organization, where can they check out more information? What website should they be going to?
ylcnola.org. YLC Freedom Leadership Council at OLA.org.
Awesome, very cool. Well, thank you so much. Have a great night. I think we're gonna end the stream here and end on a high note there. So
right.
Awesome. Thanks for helping me kick this off. I really appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.